This is WBSM On Demand.
Good morning. Good morning. Welcome back to the show. Boy, it's becoming a beautiful day out there. And I think it's still relatively mild for this time of year, which is very nice, right? I mean, can you imagine that this is the weather the Democrats are mad about, right? They want to end the warming of the planet because they're worried that in 100 years from now, the temperature on the planet will be 1 degree warmer on average. And that's bad. Think about this. The Democrat Party, wants to end days like this. They don't want this anymore. Just to show you how miserable they really are, right? Just to show you how miserable they really are. Days like this to them are bad. It's outrageous, I think. But anyway, 508-996-05 so I can get on the program. We have a governor here, folks, who's in full rebellion. Now, I don't know what her latest proposals are, but I do know she was on national television declaring that the state police, she doesn't pay their salaries, we do. And I would guarantee that the majority of state troopers voted for Donald Trump, right? But she is saying that the state police she will not allow them to cooperate with the federal government in the deportation of illegal aliens. Now imagine that for a second, right? She is in a college classroom type environment. That's where her mind is. She is talking in hypotheticals, and it's like she's in a dorm room, smoking weed and philosophizing over how the government should be, right? As opposed to the fact that she's a governor who has charge of billions of dollars and the safety of millions of people, right? Millions of us require the needs of the government to stay safe, right? That's the deal we made, is that we'll transfer our ability to use force to the government. And the government will use that force to protect us as citizens from enemies, domestic and foreign, right? We have a foreign invasion, and our governor is saying, I'm actually with the foreign invasion. She's going to side with the foreign invaders rather than us, the citizens, and who the people of America voted for to be the president. If you don't like the president, Governor, run against him. But in the meantime, the American people have spoken. Stop denying the election. Stop pretending the election didn't happen. 508-996-0500. Folks, if you had it with living in Massachusetts, right? If you want to get the hell out of Massachusetts, first you need a quality automobile. Or the one you have, you need to make sure it's in good shape, right? So bring your car down to Mac Auto Body Sales, right? Mac Auto Sales and Repair. Have them look at your car. Make sure it's in good getting out of town shape, right? They repair all makes and models. If you need to get your car ready for a long journey, maybe to Florida or Georgia, some real American state, or even New Hampshire where it's going to be a little colder, but it's a lot better, right? Then bring your car down to Mac Auto Sales. Give them a call. Tell them you're coming. 508-565-6221. They'll get your car ready for the winter or for a long journey. They're open weekdays, 9 to 5. Now, if your car is a foreign car, no problem. Mac Auto Sales specializes in servicing foreign automobiles. Ask about their aftermarket accessories. And if your car is not in a good shape and you need a new one, ask about the quality used cars that they have for sale at Mac Auto Sales, right? If you need to get out of town, do it with a great used car from Mac Auto Sales. Head over to Mac Auto Sales. Ask them about their getting out of town cars. They have a special on getting out of town cars, right? A car that can get you out of town and get you to a safe state like Florida or Georgia, maybe even Texas. But don't go there and vote Democrat, right? They don't want you there. Stay here if you're going to vote Democrat. 508-996-0500. That's how you can get on the air. We have a new cabinet taking shape. So I'm pretty excited. A Green Beret for a National Security Advisor. That's a long way from Henry Kissinger, right? Henry Kissinger was no Green Beret. We're going to have a Green Beret as the National Security Advisor. By the way, a guy who served on the China Committee, a guy who understands the dangers posed by Communist China. Congressman Walz. He was a Green Beret, served in combat, and now he's going to advise Donald Trump on national security issues. I'm excited for it. I really am. I think that's a major development. Who's a national security advisor now? Jake Sullivan? Jake Sullivan? His wife just tried to run for Congress. She may have made it to Congress, actually. 508-996-0500. Good morning. Thanks for holding.
Hi, how are you this morning?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Very well, thank you. I just heard you say something that I've been thinking about for a long time. Tom Hodgson for governor.
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah. Isn't it like the only idea?
Well, I would say that I don't know if he would want to do it though. I mean, he's got a wonderful life. He's got another house in Puerto Rico, not Puerto Rico. He's got a house in the Azores, and his wife is very busy with stuff, and they get the grandkids. So I think it would be a lot to ask him to run for governor. That's a 2-year commitment just to campaign, and then a 4-year term as governor. He would do it 100%. There's no doubt about that. But isn't that selfish of us?
Yeah, a little bit.
Right? but I think, first of all, he would do a great job. No doubt about it.
Because I think he understands people.
He does.
My husband works. We kind of know him, not like really well, but my husband kind of knows him, and I just think he'd be really, really good. I think that's the answer, Chris.
Tom Hodgson for governor. I think, first of all,
I think we should start making signs.
I think no. Listen, I think you got to make a website first and start drawing people in as volunteers. Talking to people, right? Because it's going to take, 10,000 signatures? There's no doubt about it that Tom would get the nomination of the Republican Party. I can't imagine that anybody else would not be the favorite of that convention.
Right. But it's so funny. I heard you say that this morning. I was talking to my husband about that a couple of days ago.
Were you?
You should run for governor. Yeah. And then I heard you say it. I'm thinking, wow, great minds.
Great minds think alike, right? But it would be... I don't think it would not be impossible. I think that you'd have a lot of people out there who are his natural enemies, but they're like the Globe and, of course, Maura Healey. But I think people have seen 4 years of Maura Healey, and I don't think they want 4 more years. Do you?
Absolutely not. And I just want to say, Chris, I didn't vote for her. Wait. I didn't vote for her.
Listen, but I just thought Jeff Deal was. I mean, I know Jeff Deal. I just didn't think he was the kind of guy that could attract quality. I didn't know how wrong I was about her, I guess.
That's all right. I mean, yeah, sure. But I didn't vote for her. I just want to say. So put on record.
Look, people are entitled to mistakes.
Of course they are. I give you this one.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm going to fix it, though. Thank you for the call. Thank you, as always. But look, Tom Hodgson for governor. It's not a bad idea. Again, I wonder whether Tom would want to do it, right? I mean, I think he would be a marvelous governor. The caricature they've made of Tom in the media, I know him personally. I can't tell you how great of a person he is. Really. He's an unbelievably great person. And He's no nonsense. He cares about America. He loves this country, and he loves this region. And I think he would do a great job as governor. I think he could also attract the kind of people that a governor needs to run a state, right? So, what else is out there, right? I mean, I think I would love to see Tom in Congress, right? I think Tom is an executive, though. I think he would be better off. We would be better off with Tom Hodgson as our governor. And I think it would be a better fit for him. But I certainly would help him if he ran for Congress, right? I don't know if Tom is the kind of guy who could be a congressman and have to put up with all the garbage that you have to put up with as a congressman, and the how long it takes, right? I don't think. Yeah, I know. Tom is like more of a man of action than most people in Congress. You know, you got to build consensus and all that. I know he can do all that because he's done it before as a city councilor. But I don't know. I think Tom could do anything he wants, really, quite frankly. But I'd love to see him as governor. And I know I'm not alone in that. Certainly that caller as well. A lot of people out there, though. But that's a major physical commitment. Although I guess he was just doing it. He was all over the state of Massachusetts campaigning for somebody else. Right? He was campaigning for Trump. He was all over the place. And his wife has a ton of energy. They've done the campaigns for sheriff for a number of terms, right? And so could he do it? I think he could physically do it. There's no doubt about it. He could physically do the campaign. I don't know. Certainly the door, I think, is open. I don't know. Good morning. Thanks for holding.
Good morning, Chris.
Hello.
I think, Maura Healey is a rogue politician with a rules to thee but not for me mentality.
Yes.
And I think the citizens of Massachusetts should file a class action lawsuit against her for discrimination and neglect, because she's using our taxpayer money to take care of her illegal friends.
Yes.
While cutting needed programs and benefits for the rest of us.
She tried to cut back on all the home health care stuff. It was absolutely outrageous.
Well, my sister, who's been disabled since 2017, just got a notice that she's going to have to stop paying. She's very ill.
Okay.
That she's going to stop paying for prescription, also for PCA services that she gets. What?
The personal care stuff. That's what I'm talking about. They cut that back, right?
Well, she did. My sister did have brain and lung cancer. Thank God the treatments worked.
Yes.
But she also has debilitating rheumatoid arthritis.
Okay.
She has to take shots every 8 weeks or 6 weeks. She has to take, she had 2 brain surgeries. She's going to take anti-seizure medication for the rest of her life. These are all very expensive medicines that she's got to take for the rest of her life. And it's just unbelievable. And, and Maura Healey better not think she's going to mess with President Trump, because very soon there'll be a new sheriff in town, and he ain't playing.
I agree with you.
As a matter of fact, she should have been charged with aiding and abetting illegal activity when she was the Attorney General, went down to the border and handed out pamphlets and invitations to Massachusetts. She caused this mess.
She absolutely caused this mess.
Oh, my goodness.
And the thing is, for the last 4 years, we've had a rogue Justice Department, right? Mm-hmm. And she just doesn't realize, I guess she's going to realize that Donald Trump is the Justice Department now.
You bet.
Right?
I love it.
I love it too, my friend. And I'm sorry about your sister. Thank you. But folks, Maura Healey is making a decision between American citizens and illegal aliens. And she's siding with illegal aliens. You just heard that woman say that her sister, an American citizen, is having her personal care attendant allocation being cut back. It's absolutely outrageous, because you can't spend money twice. And Maura Healey imported all these people because she doesn't respect you. Doesn't respect me. You don't respect anybody, really, quite frankly, except her illegal buddies. And we're going to take a break. We'll be right back. It's Hairband Tuesday here on the Chris McCarthy Show, right? That is slaughter. Slaughter, fly to the angels. I guess today the word slaughter would trigger kids, right? They get scared. Oh, my God. But anyway, in my day, well, they were just a flash in the pan, really. But slaughter, they were there for a little while, and now they probably still out there playing the county fair circuit, right? Slaughter. But hopefully someone will be on the county fair circuit is Maura Healey soon, right? Again, folks, it's unsafe to elect Democrats. People like Maura Healey, they just don't take national security seriously. We have a total national security threat. The flooding of the border. Now, most people who break through illegally to live in the United States are not a threat, okay? Most people are not a threat. And we used to know that. And that's how our immigration system worked, right? That most people weren't a threat. But some people were. So we would screen them out. We would bring them into a facility, right? And screen out the bad guys. The Democrats broke the system. They just let everybody in. And now it's going to cost billions of dollars to take a fine-tooth comb through the population of illegal people to get the bad guys out, right? We're basically going to have to run. You ever have fleas on your dog, right? And you have to run a flea comb through the dog. You ever done that? Run a flea comb through a dog. And it literally traps the fleas in the teeth of the comb. And there they are wiggling, right? And then you run a lighter over them and they're gone. That's what I used to do. Be down there. My dog, Rami, he was a big Rottweiler, right? And I would run the fine-tooth comb, flea comb, through his beautiful fur and take those nasty little fleas out of them, right? They would be trapped in the teeth of the comb. Then I would take a lighter, run it over the flea. Bye-bye, flea, you're gone, right? And it was kind of like deporting them. They were gone. That's what we have to do, but we have to do it with human beings. So obviously you can't run a flame over the human being, right? You got to just figure out what to do with them, and then they got to go back. But a lot of them, that's what we have to do. It's going to cost billions of dollars to basically run a flea comb through America. That's what we have to do. Good morning. Thanks for holding.
How you doing, Chris?
Not bad. How are you, my friend?
Good. Hey, Chris, I'll tell you how screwed up this state is. Everything's for the illegals. To get a veteran's plate, you have to pay $100, and they said the money goes to the soldiers' home, but there's never been an audit to prove it.
So that is something that I find outrageous. It's $100 for a veteran's plate, as if your life wasn't enough, right?
That's correct.
I think that a good Democrat like Chris Markey, in conjunction with Senator Montigny or Senator Rodrick, or both of them, could put together a motion to remove that fee from the scale of fees, right? That if you can prove with your DD-214 that you're a veteran, that ought to be enough. You shouldn't have to pay extra money for that.
No, they charge you $100. Supposedly, it goes to the soldiers' home, but there's never been an audit to prove that the money goes there.
And I'm sure it doesn't, right? I'm sure it just goes into the general fund. But again, I think that's an outrageous thing. $100 from a veteran just to get for what basically, like they're claiming it's a vanity plate, basically, right? If you want to have a vanity plate, you got to pay money. Well, a veteran's plate is not a vanity plate by any means. You have to earn that plate, and on top of that, to pay for it is outrageous.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, thank you, my friend. Let's make an issue out of that. We've got a lot of legislators who are good Americans, and they want to prove it now, right? If you're a Democrat, you got to prove it, right? But here's the thing. Let's get some momentum behind that, right? Taking the fee away for veterans. They've already put their lives on the line. They've earned that plate. So to charge them $100 in Massachusetts is outrageous. Just outrageous. Folks, it's getting a little colder out, right? And it's going to get a lot colder. Now, a lot of us like to do activities outside, And many of us have to, be outside, whether it's for work or for just getting exercise, right? So Carter's Clothing and Footwear, they have all your needs covered, right? Both work clothes and casual clothes. All of it is available down at Carter's Clothing and Footwear, a brand you can trust. So if you like to go walking outside like I do, you could do it a lot longer if you're warmer, right? By having a great coat that keeps the elements off you, you can stay out there a lot longer. So by shopping at Carter's Clothing and Footwear, you really can extend your life. Getting a warm coat or flannel-lined pants, right? Flannel-lined jeans, flannel-lined casual pants. They can keep you outside, whether it's because you're working or walking around. Footwear. If you stay warm, you can stay outside a lot longer, enjoying nature, enjoying work, right? So Carter's Clothing and Footwear, they have 2 great locations, one in New Bedford. Both locations have free parking. 55 William Street in downtown New Bedford, 288 Plymouth Avenue in Fall River. Consistently friendly, helpful customer service. Great staff at both locations. Free parking at both locations. 75 different style of work boots. For whatever you need, Carter's Clothing and Footwear. Owner-occupied, owner-managed. A brand you can do business with brands you cherish, right? Great American brands like Levi's and Carhartt, all available at Carter's Clothing and Footwear. We're now joined by Senator Mark Montigny. Good morning, Senator Montigny. How are you, my friend?
Well, how'd you know it was me?
Caller ID.
I know. I always block my number unless I want someone to know it's me, right? How are you?
I'm doing well, Mark. How are you? Congratulations on reelected for 2 more years.
Thank you, and thank you especially to a very broad group of people who have enough faith to give me 2 more years. One of the things, although I won't get into it today, maybe later in the week I'll come in studio, but one of the things I was most gratified by is that in order to get the totals I got, both in the primary, of course, where it was an 80-20 landslide thanks to those that voted in the Democratic primary. But what is probably unnoticed, but we pointed it out because, as you know, an error was made in a local publication. You can't get the totals that we got unless you attract Democrats, Republicans, and Independents.
Absolutely.
And that makes me feel good because, as you know, both on Beacon Hill and in my district, I don't ask people what their party affiliation is when they have a constituent need or a policy idea. So I'm gratified by it. I'm not in any way minimizing the way politics has become so fractured, and I think both national parties have let people down. But if you do the work on the local level and the regional level, as I do, I think people recognize that. Not that there aren't plenty, disgruntled that chose to leave a ballot blank or vote against me. I get that. When you're in for a long time, you make tough decisions and you take votes, and sometimes it's just, when the public is rightfully frustrated, they make protest votes, and I respect it because I do it regularly.
Well, not only that, Senator, you and your colleague, the chairman of the Ways and Means, have both sat in the studio and said that what is going on with the migrants is totally fiscally irresponsible and unsustainable.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm calling on a note that a caller just brought up, so I don't want to get sidetracked, but I can say this, and maybe, as I said, later in the week, some of this we can get into. Anyone who looks at what happened last Tuesday, who sits on our side of the aisle and thinks that everything is fine and it will be fine if we address nothing and don't do some serious soul searching and listening, is not only naive, it's malpractice. I mean, if the National Party doesn't sit down and think through what exactly the message is in that vote, then shame on them. But it's for another day. I want to say something that
on the veterans plate.
Yeah. It's just this is what's great about your show. I happen to be listening. I don't want to flatter you and make you think that I'm listening all the time, right? But I happen to be in Dartmouth, and the radio's on because the Christmas music that I literally love to listen to, even in November on 96.1, won't come in. So I turn on BSM
Good.
for you. I mean, you should play instead of this rock and roll stuff, you should put on a Christmas song once in a while.
Maybe I will. Maybe I will. I'll matriculate it in.
You'll keep, and I want to pick it, and then just put Drummer Boy on or something, okay? Anyway, but I just happened to hear this caller, actually the end of it, so I didn't even hear the whole initiative on how it came up. I love the idea. It's sort of like when you brought up the regressive, crazy, excise tax issue. I will file the bill. I can't make, promises, although I've passed many, many, many laws. Some of them take 2 weeks, some of them take 10 years, but I don't go away on it. And I will consult with the rest of the delegation, because you got, even when I disagree with them, you got some great people here who in Greater New Bedford on the House side who care about this stuff. It's a great idea. Now, look, if nothing else, it will make those that advocate for the $100 fee show us audited numbers on how it's helping at the Soldiers' Home. I'm ignorant of it. I haven't done any research. Your caller prompted me to say, great idea. I'm filing it. We'll see where it goes.
So he's going to file you to take away the $100 fee on veterans plates, so people who are just tuning in understand.
I mean, like I said, Chris, I want.
We're speaking with Senator Mark Montigny, by the way, folks. Senator Mark Montigny.
I mean, why is it a vanity? I get, why we have vanity plates for, whatever. Name the 30 things that we do. Some of them are great causes, and money goes into nonprofit coffers. I get that. If you want the luxury of Save the Whales or the Cape and the Islands or whatever your thing is, then you should pay for it. Veterans should not pay. It should be an honor plate, not a vanity plate.
I appreciate that, Mark. I really do. Senator Mark Montigny is always very responsive. That's why I voted for you and Donald Trump, right? I voted for you and Donald Trump.
I'll take the former, though. But you know what? And you should just pass on to that caller, since I don't know who it is. I didn't recognize the voice. Feel free to find out his phone number if he wants to talk to me about it. But I think it's a great idea, and I want to thank him for it.
Thanks, Senator. I do appreciate it. And we'll maybe get you in this week at some point.
Yeah, I'll see you in studio soon. If not this week, soon.
All right, thanks, Senator Montigny. Okay. I do appreciate it. 508-996-05. There's another guy who shops at Carter's all the time, Senator Mark Montigny. I know that. So, look, folks, like I said, we have the best audience, and many of the people in our audience are, in fact, elected officials. So if you've got a concern, and that gentleman actually reached out to me about that issue. That's why I knew exactly what he was talking about, because he reached out to me on Facebook originally. And that Facebook Messenger is a good way to reach out to me. Tomorrow, we're going to have the mayor of New Bedford. He'll be here. And we're also going to have some people from Fairhaven. We're going to have Kathy Melanson, from the planning board. We're going to have Rick Trapillo from the planning board. I believe we're going to have Charlie Murphy, who's currently the acting town administrator. He's going to be here. And I think there's going to be somebody else, which as I list them off, I realize I don't have enough headsets and microphones, but we'll figure it out. Right, Maya? We'll figure it out. Oh, she won't be here either. So you're going to, everyone's abandoning me. But tomorrow we're going to have a great Fairhaven hour, talking about 40R and some of the upcoming votes that are going to happen in the town of Fairhaven, and Charlie Murphy, who's the acting town administrator. I don't know for how long. So that'll be great tomorrow. Let me see here. Put this gentleman on hold. So so we've got a lot of really good stuff coming up the rest of the week. We have we have Mayor John Mitchell will be in tomorrow, and before him in the 10 o'clock hour, we'll have a whole bunch of people from Fairhaven talking about 40R, and Charlie Murphy will be here, the acting town administrator. So that'll be very interesting tomorrow, particularly for those of us who live here in Fairhaven. Let's go back to the phones. Good morning. Thank you for holding.
Hey, how you doing, Chris?
Not bad, my friend. So you just heard Senator Montigny on the veterans plate. I don't know if you have I know you're a veteran. What do you think of that?
I'm a Vietnam veteran.
Yes, I know that.
I didn't get to hear that, though. Can you give me a little bit of it?
Yeah, so basically what the caller was talking about is how if you want a veterans plate, it costs you $100 for the veterans plate. And he just thought, that's outrageous. And Senator Montigny heard the call, and I agreed with him. And Senator Montigny called and said he's going to file legislation to take that $100 fee away.
Oh, cool.
Isn't that good?
Cool. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, that's really nice. Mike, what what I called you about
Okay.
was I was listening to you earlier about not using state police to
Right.
do the bidding of what they want to do. And let me just say this, right? Before, just want you to know where my head is at.
Sure.
I believe in deporting everybody is here illegally.
Yeah.
Everybody, not just recently, but whoever's here illegally.
Yes.
That's my thought on it.
Me
right?
too.
So I just want you to know that.
Okay.
Right. But I remember it was a couple of months ago, the question was asked to the gentleman that was just given the job to be the border Holman, I guess his name is, right?
Yeah, Holman, yeah.
Right? And they asked him, how are you going to have the resources to do this mass deportation? And he answered, well, I plan on using other entities such as sheriffs, policemen,
Yes.
town people.
Right.
Right? And her response to it was, well, they're hired to do their job protecting the citizens of whatever town or whatever state they're in. How could that work? You're basically taking away, if you took state police away, you're taking away from what they do on an everyday basis
Right.
in their jobs. That's why they hired, and that's why they need it.
Yes.
I just want to hear your thoughts, because I know you was against that because Maura Healey said you're not going to use
Right.
high police officers to do your bidding.
Right. So I would say this, that they can do them jobs simultaneously. In other words, if you're a state trooper and you're going around and you're pulling people over, if you pull someone over, you put them in the system. If they're not here legally, you can detain them, and then they're going out, right? So I would say that in the normal course of duties, they would come across illegal aliens, and if you're in contact with the police, you're up to no good generally, right? Generally, the police don't have contact with people who aren't here, who are doing things the right way. If you think about your last contact with the police, it was probably because you were speeding or driving erratically. I'm not saying you were, but you know what I'm saying. In other words, you know what I'm saying. So I think that right now the door has been shut for even doing any of that. So I think there's a lot that the police can do in the conjunction of doing their normal duties. For instance, when they're a narcotics officer, right? The narcotics trade is investigated by the police all the time. So if they came across somebody who's illegal and they're also selling cocaine, well, then that's not different. You know what I mean? In other words, if they come across you, it's just a matter of figuring out the paperwork, and then it's just referring you to ICE and let ICE deport you. So I would say that's how they're going to do it.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to hear what your thoughts are.
Yeah.
Because you figured there's probably, I don't know, more than it. I don't know. I don't have numbers, but how about if you don't get in any kind of trouble? If you're illegal,
then you're probably
not
all right.
trouble.
Well, then that's the thing. And thanks for the call, my friend. Again, I think those are the lowest priority people, right? Let's not let the perfect be the enemy of the good, right? In other words, it's not like, well, if everyone has to leave, then how come you can't get everybody, right? Well, some people are going to raise their hands, so to speak, by selling cocaine or heroin, and Jimmy Estrella is going to bust them, right? Or they're going to get involved in armed robbery, and Jimmy Estrella is going to track them down from the New Bedford Police Department and put the cuffs on them, and then they're going to be into the system, and they get deported. We're not going to send people out interviewing everybody looking for illegal aliens. The bad ones are going to rise to the top. They're going to float up, right? Like something. Anyway, we're going to take a very quick break. We'll be right back. Stick around. I'm Chris McCarthy. Jovi tribute band, Living on a Bad Name, is here every Saturday. So if you enjoyed that music, stick around on Saturdays. We're going to go back to the phones. Good morning. Thanks for holding.
Hello, Chris McCarthy. How are you?
I'm not bad. How are you, my friend?
Well, it's about, I know Tiggs is a little tired from running unopposed, but it's nice to see him maybe get behind something. He was probably had a really tough, few months campaigning. But with that said, hopefully Tiggs will do something. Tiggs is his nickname, in case anybody doesn't know that. But anyway.
Someone from his childhood who knows that.
Yes, that'd be from his Inside Baseball and others who know him. So anyway, but with that said, your last caller. So what's the cost of not deporting people, right? What's the cost of keeping this going? And I just want to remind your listeners Miss Healy's, sort of stance on immigration. First, remember, she was, come on in. We're a sanctuary state. We want you all in, right?
Yep,
Months later, what did she do? She reached out to the people of Massachusetts, to the Commonwealth. Well, you need to help us pay for these people. You need to, send us more money. You need to house them. You need to do this. And then part 3, she was starting to bust them or move them out of the state, right? So that was her transformation. And now her most recent one is, well, you come for the people of Massachusetts, and we're going to fight you all the way. So how do you make sense? Maybe Hodgson should just run on that. I'd love to see him run against her on that. So what do you think?
No, I agree with you on that. She, first of all, makes no sense whatsoever. And Senator Montigny, Senator Rodericks, and the hardworking people of Massachusetts put all those billions away while she was the Attorney General. And as soon as she became governor, she used all that money for her illegal alien friends. It's really outrageous.
It is. Absolutely.
And as you said, what is the price of national security? That's Tom Homan, I think, presented that to a questioner, saying, well, what is the cost for not deporting them? What is remember, 9/11, you and I know this, 9/11 started in Logan Airport. Long before those towers ever came down, illegal aliens got on the planes in Boston. So it's a matter of national security.
Yeah, and she just is all over the map. And again, I was hoping for maybe like a 45 to percent going for Trump. I know in the town of Dartmouth, actually, Kamala, I think, got 31 more votes in Dartmouth, which is good. So there are pockets in Massachusetts that are good. I don't know. We've had a history of electing Republican governors here. Not like Hodgson,
no.
More on the rhino side of things, but maybe it's worth a try. She really, how are we supposed to make progress when you have comments like that? And you have legislatures, and you have the entire state of Massachusetts constantly blue, people running unopposed. No rub on Mark. Hey, you can run against Tiggs if you want. Just, you gotta, you're gonna need a big old checkbook because he's got a war chest. But with that said, when I voted this Tuesday, there were so many just Democrats all over, unopposed, no one running.
Right.
Come on, we got to do better here if we want to be better.
I agree with you, and that's why I said it's incumbent upon the Republican Party to field more candidates, to offer more incentives to run for office as a Republican, that people are going to vote for them. The party has been, I think finally, the party is paying attention, and certainly down here where Donald Trump had a good showing is going to see more from the party. Hopefully people will get involved based off of what they saw this past election.
Yeah, and Scott Brown was a bit of a disappointment. I liked the big red truck. I got that he ran around, but then when he got to Washington, he changed. Everybody that voted for him stuck their neck out, put a sign, worked hard, was expecting, I'm not saying a hardcore conservative agenda, right? That you don't compromise, but just changed not necessarily overnight, but changed right away, and then he didn't get reelected.
Right.
Because what he ran on was not how he legislated. And that's just, so I don't know. I still think there could be a little bit of apprehension by Massachusetts, especially Republicans. Are we going to be duped again?
You never know. You never know, my friend. Thanks for the call. If you're on hold, stay there. We're going to take a break. I'm Chris McCarthy. We'll be right back. Never ran away from home. When I was a kid, I never tried to run away from home. But my parents, I bet a lot of people had this experience. I know the mayor did. When you were acting up, they would say, we're going to take you to St. Mary's home, drop you off at St. Mary's home, which was a real thing on Kempton Street, and the building's still there. That was the orphanage, and your parents would threaten to send you there. I remember when I was Marcus and I were having this conversation, and then the mayor came in and started adding to it, and Marcus found it that must have been so traumatizing. I go, well, when I figured out that they couldn't take me to the orphanage and they still used it, I realized I'd free run. Anyway, 508-996-0500. Good morning. Thanks for holding.
Hey, in defense of Scott Brown, I think when Scott Brown got up there, he fought against the insider trading in Congress.
He did.
And then and I think that it stopped. And then when Dizzy Miss Lizzie got back in there, got back in again. Now, that's something Congress, whether you be Republican or Democrat or Independent, Bernie Sanders, that's something that shouldn't be. They should not be allowed for insider trading. So, don't kick a guy in the teeth that might be a potential candidate here that the Republicans need, I think, in Massachusetts.
So I wonder if Scott Brown would come back. And, that moving to New Hampshire stuff, I wonder
Texas.
Yeah, no, I get that. But you wonder if he would bother to come back.
Well, again, you'd have to pursue him and ask him and see what he thinks. It's just like with Sheriff Tom, or whether he wants to run for governor or whether he wants to run for Congress. That's something you'd have to, ask him and see what he says, too. But, the Republicans, you need candidates. Don't kick them in the behind and, because, politics is something where you have to, learn and sometimes change. And even your friend Senator Montigny said when he first went up to General Court, he thought he was going to do this and that and the other, and they went, whoa! Yes. And he finally realized that, boy, you just can't go up there and do that. So, and I guess he's learned. So it is a learning process. So if I was wrong in anything I said there, please correct me, because you're the only one I'd accept correction from who knows more than me.
No, I would say that everything you just said is accurate. And again, when you get down to Washington, it's an entirely different world, right?
I'm sure.
So Senator Brown, again, he got in on a seat. They were all used to dealing with Teddy Kennedy or learning from Teddy Kennedy, really.
Yes. And doing what Teddy Kennedy told him to do.
Exactly. And now their mentor was gone.
Yes.
And replaced by Scott Brown.
But again, I thought Scott Brown, did a Herculean task by getting in there and trying to change that. How they cannot have egg on their face about being allowed to insider trade, where if you and I tried to do it, we'd go to jail.
It is. Now, look, I think it's amazing the amount of stock trading that some of our representatives do. It really is.
Well, they go in and they're poor and they leave a millionaire.
Oh, yeah.
All right, my friend.
Thank you, my friend.
Thank you again for letting me talk.
No problem at all, my friend. Thanks. Look, I think that if you see Tom Hodgson, ask him, or you want to send him an email, asking him if he wants to be the governor. If not, I think Tom would be part of the team that picks the Republican candidate for governor, right? Good morning. Thanks for holding.
Chris, real quick. So, you know that the Senate is going to, I don't know if you heard about this, but the Senate is going to try to have a closed-door session on who's going to be the next speaker to take over for Mitch McConnell. And the three candidates is Rick Scott, Cornyn, and Thune. Those two candidates, Thune and Cornyn, are rhinos that are they're 2.0 Mitch McConnell. So if anybody wants to get Rick Scott in there, he's a MAGA man. He backs Trump all the way. And if you want to ring the phone off the hook and vote for him to have the public, say, why are you having a closed session? This is the trickery that these rhinos pull. They, why not have? They're going to have a secret vote, Chris. I don't know if you heard about this.
Yeah,
but they're have a secret vote.
Well, that's their rules. The Senate has their own rules. They're going to have a secret ballot.
Yeah, but we're going to break those rules.